What's up, family, and welcome to another edition of Triple Double. I'm your host, Nicole, and I have all of the fellas here with me today. I have Steve.
What's going on, man? I already know what you can.
What's up, Sean?
What's going on? What's going on?
And our special guest today is none other than the Chief Apostle, Apostle Eugene Smith. You all right today?
I'm great. Can't wait.
That's good. That's good. So we have a jam-packed show for you today. We're going to jump into some football and we're going to jump into some basketball. So we'll start right off with the playoffs this weekend. We'll talk about the 43-year-old Tom Brady and the 42-year-old Drew Brees. So, fellas, who do you have this week?
I'm going to go ahead and roll with Tom Brady, man. I mean, of course, y'all know where I'm going with this. I know Steve is going to mention all these, stats and all this and what Drew has done against Tom. So, but what I will say is when it comes to Tom Brady family is that when it's time for the playoffs, he delivers. When it comes to him in the postseason, he's 31-11. He barely loses, man. And so when it comes to, like I said, he leads all major categories when it comes to playoff stats, touchdowns, and completions and so forth. So, and not only that, 6 for 9. You know what I'm saying? You gotta take that into account. But I would be lying if I said I'm nervous about this week. I am. You know what I'm saying? Especially with Tom losing twice to his division rival. But when it comes to what I truly believe, when he delivers, he's going to deliver, and he always delivers on the biggest stages. It just always happens. He has never played Drew Brees, and I understand the history, but he's never played Drew Brees in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we have to take into account. So I'm excited to see what Tom does, because I'm rolling with my guy to the end, and I'm sure you are too. So what you got?
Man, Drew Brees is my favorite quarterback of all time. I'm not saying he's the greatest. I wouldn't say that. He's my favorite quarterback of all time. So I got to go Drew. I know Nicole gonna lean on your side. She biased in certain categories, so she gonna lean on your side with this. She a Brady fan, but I gotta go with Drew. This is why, Sean. And yes, I'm gonna come with the facts and I'm gonna come with the stats. Drew Brees, because you mentioned some stats. Drew Brees is 5-2 against Brady. 5-2. He plays terrific against him. He's thrown for 21 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. Mm-hmm. As Brady on the other end has thrown 11 touchdowns. 11 interceptions at that. I don't think he got what it takes to beat Brees, man. I think I'm taking Brees on this one. I feel like they got the better team. Now, Gronk didn't have no receptions last week. He didn't do good at all last week. He didn't even go Gronk's way that many times. And so I feel like Brees just gonna get this dub. I don't think Brady has the weapons to beat the Saints. New Orleans is hungry.
But you got to take into account that Drew Brees always falls short in the playoffs. He's always done that.
Wow.
He's always done that. So you got to understand that.
Can I rebuttal real quick? Can I please rebuttal?
Yes.
If he's a champion, he has one. He only has one.
That's it.
How does he always fall short? That's not always if he has that one.
I mean, look at what the Vikings did last year. Look at that. That's falling short. And not only that, what was the other one? The Rams, when the Rams went. You know what I'm saying? The Rams came out. I mean, bogus call at the end, but at the end of the day, they won. They won. I mean, it's nothing else to say about that. So,
it's hard to play again. It's hard to beat Drew Brees versus the referees, man. You can't beat the refs.
Don't do that.
You can't beat the refs. I feel like this is just me, and I know I'm the little man in this because y'all gonna jump on me on this.
Well, who you like, Bishop?
Well, here's what's interesting. I am not a football follower or fan, but it's interesting. I know who Tom Brady is. He's a proven product. Mm-hmm. So that says something about the caliber of player he is. Okay. That, even a person that doesn't really follow football, don't have all of the stats and information that you guys have, but we know who Tom Brady is. Mm-hmm. So, and Drew Brees, I've heard the name.
He's great. It's just nothing else to be said.
I wouldn't say that he's not great. Well, you know what? I'll take that back. I will. I'm going to say he's not great.
Who, Drew Brees?
Yes, Drew Brees.
Whoa.
No, let me. Because I feel like he has to have everything around him working for him to be great. That's just what that's just what I feel. As a Tom Brady is going to throw the ball to the most no-name receiver, but because he's throwing the ball, you have a shot.
Not true.
That's true.
He has Gronk. He's had Gronk.
They had James White last year. Stop it.
He's even played with arguably, he's not the greatest receiver ever, but you can argue this, that he's a top 3 receiver. He's had Randy Moss before. So you can't, I'm just saying, you're saying
They had Julian Edelman.
He did. You're saying he makes no names and gives them a name. I don't agree with that.
But not saying that he's never played with historic players.
Yeah,
we're not saying that, but we're just saying Tom Brady knows how to turn things around with little to nothing.
Drew Brees when he was on the Chargers, he didn't win. You know, he went to the playoffs a few years, but when he was on the Chargers, he didn't have no stacked team. He had LaDainian Tomlinson as his running back.
Win.
Yeah,
That's
my thing. But he's had arguably the greatest coach in sports history in Bill Belichick.
Okay, so how long has Drew Brees had Kamara? What, about 3-4 years?
Oh my God.
How long has he had Michael Thomas? You know what I'm saying? You have to take those things into account. He also has had winning records for over the last 5 years, which I also named the very last time. So my thing is, this isn't new to us. And when it comes to these type of moments, he always falls short.
Let me give
Tom Brady
you this fact.
doesn't fall short.
Let me give you this fact.
Please.
This is a fact.
Please.
He's the only quarterback that Tom Brady has won against more than 5 times that has a winning record against Tom Brady. This is Drew Brees.
I can give you
He's
that.
the only quarterback. He has the most passing yards in NFL history.
But do you
almost
feel like
80,000.
so,
He's more
almost
than Tom Brady.
80,000.
So the Saints and the Saints have beat the Buccaneers twice this season. I just feel like you have to take that into consideration. It's going to be very hard to beat a team 3 times. So that's another reason why I'm leaning towards Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, because they have lost twice to the Saints this year. So what would you say, Bishop? Like, how would you?
Well, if you look at the odds, the odds would say that the team that has won the more games would have the edge because maybe they have their number. So if I was a betting man, and I'm not, I probably would go with the team that has proven this season to be the better team.
Okay.
You know, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily the better quarterback, but there's something in the chemistry of one team that says, you know, I got their number, I can beat them. So it's going to be interesting.
It is.
I need to ask you something. How is it, Nicole, because I'm sitting here, how is it that you are a female and you know so much about football and so much about sports? But let's talk about football. Why is it you know so much about football?
I've always loved sports. Just me growing up being a tomboy, which is kind of hard to believe now because I'm so girly at this point.
like before the show. Which way my hair should be? We get.
But I wasn't always like that, like literally. So I guess just growing up, me being a tomboy, I have always been into wrestling and basketball. And honestly, basketball was my number 1 sport probably growing up. I've always loved the game of basketball. I dated someone that played like football, like Little League, Pal. So that's kind of how I got into is just watching football. Then once I learned football, as far as I feel like football players compete on the highest level.
Okay.
There is nobody cares if you're a great single player in football as opposed to basketball.
Right.
Football is a team because you can be the best offensive player, but you can't play defense.
You cannot play defense.
You know,
right.
and so that's why I just love the game of football because it's such a team sport. The camaraderie. I love like the different climates and conditions. Some teams play in domes. Some teams play in the snow. Speaking of snow, you know what I'm saying? We got Aaron Rodgers and Lambeau playing against the best, I would say, defensive player, and Aaron Donald for the Rams, and Jared Goff. And you got Sean McVay, their coach. You have all those different dynamics. So I would say that's kind of why I love it. So just speaking of, you know, Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Donald, the LA Rams and the Green Bay Packers, the Cheeseheads. I'm gonna start off with my friend Steve because he loves him some Aaron Rodgers.
I feel like this is gonna be a great game. I'm not gonna lie. Just like Sean Teasy said in the last statement about the Saints and the Bucks. I'm scared, man, because this defense is crazy. They got a good format, and though I believe in Aaron Rodgers, I feel like A-Rod, he got it hard this week. He got it hard this week, but I do think he's gonna pull it off. I think it's gonna be a close game. I'm calling it 24-20.
You giving scores?
I'm giving scores this week. Wow. I came prepared.
Wow. You got 24-20. A-Rod. I'm gonna go ahead and roll with the Rams. I think it needs to be. It's gonna have to be a little bit more scoring in this game. I know it's gonna be cold, so I'm gonna roll with something around the lines of, I'm gonna just say 28-24. Because when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, you're gonna have to put more points on the board. You know, it's not a lot of times where he is going to lose a game by less than 20 points, or not getting 20 points, I'd say. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and say it's going to come down to, Sean McVay putting together this offense with these young guys and Jared Goff.
And the cold, they're not used to it, though.
And the cold, they're not used to it, but that's what it's going to have to take. That's what, and I got to have faith. I'm going to trust that I believe that Jared Goff is going to be able to put about at least 28 points on the board versus Aaron Rodgers. I'm gonna roll with something.
Not in the snow. I don't see it.
You don't see that?
So this is a game of faith.
I'm telling you, man. I mean, because anything can happen in the game of football. So I would normally go with a low-scoring game, but because it is the playoffs, neither team is trying to go home. And so when you got people out there like, Aaron Donald, but you got a Jalen Ramsey all on the defensive end, I think it's going to be kind of tough for Aaron Rodgers to be able to pull through that. Covering Devontae Adams.
A 50 touchdown throw.
Absolutely. I already told you what Aaron Rodgers went up against.
A-Rod the MVP.
I'll give him MVP. But like I said, the teams that he actually went against, as far as teams that's contention for something, I think I named about only 3 or maybe 4, and he was 2 for 4 for that. So I don't know what else to say. 3 for 4 now? How was he 3 for 4?
I'm going with the Rams as well, just so you know.
I see Nicole team shine today. Let's go.
I'm going with the Rams as well.
Well, my question is this. Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, who's the better quarterback?
Brady.
You speaking of all time or right now?
All time.
All time Brady, but right now, Aaron
Rodgers. It's a consensus.
Right now, Aaron Rodgers.
He's the only guy, Bishop, and I know you like facts. He's the only guy in NFL history to do this. He did it 3 times. This is not his first time doing it. He did it 3 times, and he did it this season. He has 3 times thrown over 40 touchdowns and under 7 interceptions. He did it 3 times. And I mean, ain't nobody doing that.
And let me tell you how gold is. And let me tell you how gold is.
He got a championship. He has a championship.
You're talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
So that's your pick, Aaron Rodgers?
That's
over Tom Brady? Because that's my question.
As far as favoritism, yes.
Oh my God!
It's kind of like the Kobe LeBron thing.
No, it's kind of like it's biased.
It's like the Kobe LeBron thing.
Because at the end of the day, people forget that Tom Brady is doing this at 43 years old. Mind you, Tom Brady has threw for 40 touchdowns at 43. Never been done. People don't acknowledge that. Not only that, it's not with the Patriots, but it's on a new team.
Wow.
It's on a new team.
See, this is why it's never been done. People don't usually play that long. Only a few people. Of course it ain't going to be done when you ain't going up against nothing.
He's the goal.
Okay, so.
Well, let me ask this question.
Okay.
Just a little question. If you were building a team, would you build your team around Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
I would build my team as far as talent, them playing today or all time.
Thank you.
Like
I'm going A-Rod actually.
If you talking today, if I'm talking today, I'm taking Tom Brady.
I'm building my team and I love Tom Brady, but I'm building my team around Aaron Rodgers.
Thank you.
Because the only reason to me that Aaron Rodgers has not had a lot of the success that Brady has had is because of the people around Tom Brady. So while I do feel like Tom Brady is the greatest, he was in a great marriage with Bill Belichick as his coach. It was a good system. And even this year, when you look at, and I know we have to transition to basketball, but this is good. Yeah. When you look how the Packers went into the draft, they thought it was important, instead of getting Aaron Rodgers help and instead of, drafting another wide receiver, running back, or whatever, they decided to draft his successor, another quarterback. Mm-hmm. So he does not have the help that Tom Brady has had. So if I'm building my team, I'm going Aaron Rodgers.
So if you put Aaron Rodgers in Tom Brady's situation, Aaron Rodgers would have been a better quarterback.
I think so.
Aaron Rodgers would be a better quarterback in Tampa's system, or are you
talking
about
Bill Belichick, Patriots.
I feel like a lot of people couldn't have handled what Tom Brady handled coming from Bill Belichick. That's the thing that people miss, because the scrutiny and the discipline that Bill Belichick poses on his quarterback. I don't feel like Aaron Rodgers could have been able to withstand something like that for a long time. I mean, it's nothing. It's just all hypothetical.
But you're basically saying that as if he has no discipline.
Aaron Rodgers? Yeah. I feel like Aaron Rodgers wouldn't have been able to handle Bill Belichick that long.
Yeah, what you basing it off of?
I just don't.
I think he would have. I think he could have.
You did. Oh, okay.
That's a feeling.
It's just a feeling.
We all have feelings.
Speaking of feelings, guess who is feeling good? The Brooklyn Nets. Houston, we no longer have a problem. So getting us ready to transition into some basketball, James Harden has taken his talents to the Brooklyn Nets. So tell me this, fellas, when we think about trios and just three-headed monsters, what trio do you like better? KD and the Splash Brothers that were, and Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, or you like KD, Harden, and Kyrie? And I'm going to actually start with our guest on this one. Bishop, what do you think?
Well, it's really simple. KD and the Splash Brothers.
Most definitely.
All day, every day. I'll tell you why. Because now we're talking about something that I know about. and here's the real issue. The issue is not scoring. When you think about James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and KD, right? They are great scorers. Mm-hmm. But only one of those players played on a high level without the ball in their hand. Now, when you think about the Splash Brothers, KD, Steph, Klay Thompson, run, move, set picks. Yeah. They play with the ball. Mm-hmm. They play without having the ball. So you can't compare them. You know what I mean? In terms of, and then you think in terms of the that trio, Klay Thompson is a premier defender.
He is.
Now, so if you think about that, who's going to play defense other than KD on the Nets? So while it looks good, it's interesting, all of that, I believe they're going to do well. But if I had to choose, I'm going to choose the people who won some rings. Mm-hmm. And have a track record.
I'm a piggyback.
Brothers, absolutely.
I want to piggyback because I feel like the Splash Bros was better as well. Only because of what he said. You know, they the off ball screens, and Steph doesn't need the ball. Steph and that 3-year reign with Kevin Durant being there, Steph barely brought the ball up. You know what I'm saying? He was leaning on Kevin Durant to bring it up. Klay brought it up a few times. Draymond was pushing the one, and Steph is considered the point guard. But he was barely bringing the ball up. He running around, getting open. So I feel like the system is easier. James Harden needs the ball. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Kyrie needs the ball. They got to dribble on you, cross you over. Same with KD. He needs the ball because when KD came, Sean, we talked about it back then some years ago. that how Kevin Durant gonna fit in this system, you know, and they made it work. And I believe Brooklyn gonna make it work, but I like that big three with the Splash Bros.
Yeah, I totally agree with both of you gentlemen when it comes to picking the better trio. A lot of times people would, like in this time and age, they would argue James Harden because the man averaged 30. You know what I'm saying? He's a walking 30-point bucket. You know, he had a whole month of January, I believe, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, when he scored over 40 points every game for the whole month. So, you know what I'm saying, just dominating when it comes to scoring. So, and he does need the ball. Same thing with Kyrie Irving. You know what I'm saying, he has to dance on you. He got to lose you a little bit, make you lose your footage in order for him to get a clean shot through, or he can just, you know, finish it perfect under the rim. You know what I'm saying, he has multiple ways in doing that, but he needs the ball to do it. And so now when it comes down to them two in the Splash Bros, I definitely got to roll with the Splash Brothers on that. You know, when it comes to Stephen Curry, he's the greatest shooter of all time. It's no discussion.
No discussion.
Yeah, it's no discussion. Nobody, you can't find a better shooter when it comes to Stephen Curry. And then when it comes to Clay, 60 points in just 13 dribbles. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
It's unheard of.
Well,
You know what I'm
and
saying?
then you think about, you have two players, well, really all three of them, but when you look at Steph and Klay Thompson, who can catch the ball and shoot.
From anywhere.
The blood.
I'm
They
talking
can
about.
catch the ball and just shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and don't need to be in rhythm.
Not
At
at
all.
all.
You know what I mean? So, and then again, think in terms of this Brooklyn Nets team, what are they going to do without the ball? And my question to you guys and lady, what will Kyrie, what will James Harden do when the ball is not in their hand?
And so, you know, I hosted a couple shows and a couple episodes of Triple Double. You know what I'm saying? So I want to jump in on this, Nicole. I feel like I'm a good host. I do want to talk about this for a minute because I feel like it's gonna be a lack in their offense because Kyrie gonna sit there as KD has the ball in his hand. You gonna sit there and watch. We've seen it in numerous games this year already. I know it's early in the season, it's a young season, but we've seen it at the end of games where they're trying to win the game. We've literally seen Kyrie standing off to the side watching Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying? Same with Kevin Durant. If Kyrie got the ball in his hand, we're watching this guy. There's no movement. And I don't know if that's going to last when they get to the championship. That's hard. The only thing is, it's hard to beat them because of their offensive threat as far as their scoring. Like Kevin Durant can get you 40, KD can get, Kyrie can get you 40, and James Harden can get you 40. So my thing is when you're playing against someone like LeBron, the caliber of LeBron, where you have to do something different. You can't just stand around when somebody got the peel in their hand.
And I totally agree. So when you said lack of offense in your beginning
At the end of the game.
Lack of offense in that.
At the end, only because there's no movement. Only because if you give KD the ball, LeBron knows, oh, KD got it. We about to just stick on KD because I know KD want that last shot. Or if Kyrie got it, they pass the ball into Kyrie, we know Kyrie taking that last shot.
I think, honestly, that's where they will shine the most. Number one, when it comes to their offense, I feel like they're going to be averaging 130-plus points a game.
You really?
Yeah, I think they're going to be able to hit 100.
Defense.
I think, because my thing is it's going to be so easy for them to score.
But everybody, it's one
No,
basketball.
not against LA. I'm not saying against LA.
Right, but it's only one. No, I'm talking about
It's one basketball.
I'm
That's
talking
it.
about in general. It's one basketball. So everybody's not going to have the chance to just score 40.
I still believe that they can be able to hit 100. Okay, even if it's not 130, 120
You
plus.
said an average?
Average, yes, absolutely. I feel like they can definitely. Okay, I get where you're going now. I get where you're going. So when it comes to them scoring, I feel like that's not going to be the hard part, especially when it comes down to the end. Because when it comes down, normally, and when it's in situations like in Golden State, they have to double team. Now in this case, who are you double teaming? You know what I'm saying? You got Kyrie, you got James Harden, you got KD. Who is there to double team? If you even try to double team KD going to the rim, he can kick it out. because now he's developing the point guard role.
And the passing game.
You know what I'm saying? So he's developing that game, and then James Harden, he gets enough points in the paint as is. So if he gets down there, okay, KD's wide open on the corner. Okay, Kyrie is wide open on the corner. So I feel like it's going to come easy when it comes down to things
I
like
feel
that.
like as far as their offense, that's fine. But my thing is, other teams, they score as well. They in the NBA too.
Well,
Who's going to play defense is what
And not only that, I'm not that impressed with the fact that they are great scorers if they're not going to pick and roll.
That's the thing.
And they
you know
not.
what I mean?
You're not about to tell James Harden to do a screen.
There's
He's
no
not
movement.
doing that.
And I believe it was you, Bishop, that told me this some years ago in your teaching. I try not to listen to respond, but I just gotta respond to what you said. So I don't think only because there's no movement. Even Harden, we watch Harden in Houston. He used to just sit there. If somebody else got the ball, he's sitting there. You know, like there's no movement. If I don't have the ball, I'm not important, and he can't play like that to become a champion. He's the only one in this big three that has no ring. And this is another thing. And this, you know, again, history speaks for itself. When you see all these big threes get together, Sean, somebody in the big three has to decrease their role. You know, we watched it with the big three in Boston. Ray Allen was a top 10 scorer in the league for many years. He get there with Paul Pierce and KG. He becomes just a shooter, one of the greatest shooters of all time. You know, he played his role great. But same thing with Chris Bosh with D Wade and LeBron. Same thing with Kevin Love with Kyrie and LeBron. You know, it's always like that. You know, and you can argue Clay, Steph, and KD. Clay, you know, he had some great nights, but you know, Clay had to take a step back.
Who's taking a step back is the question. I don't know who does, but because of what Kyrie Irving is doing, I think that the Brooklyn Nets should at least trade him before he says he's going to retire.
Who should they get? Westbrook and bring that OKC?
No. If they trade Westbrook, I mean, what's his name? Kyrie Irving, and they go get somebody like a big man or something like that, I feel like that'll be better because James Harden is already a point guard. Right. So I think they should at least get value for him while they can.
Well, I think one of the challenges with the Brooklyn Nets right now is when you double team whoever has the ball and have it rolling, what other player in that big three can catch and shoot?
KD.
Arguably.
Kyrie can too.
Kyrie can.
Arguably.
To catch.
And just go.
Kyrie can. Remember he did that in the finals.
Yeah.
They can. But that's not their
not their
strength.
game. That's not their game.
You're right.
And that's something that they will have to
Harden
develop
can
along
do
the
it.
way.
You know what I mean? Because the issue is going to be, do they have the ability to play off the ball effectively?
That's the argument.
Now, when you start talking about Clay, at any moment, he gonna pull up. Steph can pull up. KD can pull up. But that is not the strength of James Harden, nor Kyrie Irving.
So, fellas, answer me this. So, with the various super teams that are being created in the NBA, where does this leave LeBron? And if he wins his 5th ring this year, where does that put his legacy? I'm gonna start off with the Chief.
Okay, now let's
The first question.
The first question. Tell me that again.
With all of the super teams that
right now
that are being created, where does that leave LeBron and AD and the Lakers? Are they still the favorites in your mind to win it? Is it the field? Is it anybody's win? Or are you gonna go with the Nets? Or
I like the Nets, but they can't beat the Lakers. I don't think right now. I don't think the way that team is built, they could beat the Lakers. You know, they would need some other pieces to really be able to beat the Lakers. The only threat to the Lakers, I think right now, is a Clippers team that's ready to play. They would have to be ready to play. Yeah. And they would have to have the durability to play against, you know, the Lakers. I really like the Nets. I think it'll be fun to watch. I think they may even... They have a chance of coming out of the East. But you got to think about Boston. in the East.
They sneaky.
They sneaky. You got to think about.
Joel Embiid is playing like an MVP.
He's playing great.
Now, why I don't believe in the 76ers,
He's playing good though.
you have to account for how Joel Embiid is playing.
I don't believe in him at all.
I don't think.
Me neither, but
I
he's
like
more.
him,
Yeah.
but I don't believe in that team
Yeah.
at all. I
Because you do
just
have a
don't.
point guard that is scared to shoot the ball, and that's
Yeah, I don't believe in them under pressure.
I totally.
You know, when you cry at the end of a game, you got to be consoled by the other team.
Yeah.
You know, I just
Yeah.
the Milwaukee Bucks. You know, but you know, I don't see anybody beating the Lakers because they play like a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people know their role. And you have one of the top players of all time
Literally.
in LeBron James, and you have a motivated AD, and they know their roles together. Now, to your second question, when you say when he wins his fifth ring, if he wins a fifth ring, where does that put him? His legacy?
Where does that put his legacy? Because of course we have the constant, conversation and rebuttal. He's some people's GOAT. Some people he ain't even. It don't matter what he do. He will never reach. You know what I'm saying? A Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan. So. But I specifically remember the late great Kobe. With his infamous. So
I love
Yeah.
it.
I love it.
That was my favorite
So,
video.
so if LeBron can do the same, my question, where does that put his legacy?
Well, LeBron is great. No question in my mind, LeBron is great. And anybody who would say, now he's not my GOAT, but anybody that would say LeBron is the greatest of all time, I wouldn't argue with them.
Not me.
Because at some point, what you're looking at is who you like to see play.
That's
And
good. Yeah.
and their style.
Yeah.
So, when you talk about Kobe, Michael, LeBron, you're really talking about styles. You're not talking about who's better. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
they're great at what they do.
That's good. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then you're talking about generations. And I think when we start having the GOAT conversation, we really should start talking about generational players in their generation. Because if you grew up and your real first introduction to greatness is Kobe Bryant, Kobe Bryant is going to be your GOAT.
Right.
Most definitely.
If you grew up and you watch Michael Jordan,
They're gonna be a goat.
Michael Jordan is going to be your GOAT the same way with LeBron. Now, I'm different because I've followed basketball my whole life. Jordan and Kobe is so close to me because Jordan made me like the way he played. And Kobe played so close to that with his own style, though.
Yeah.
Because he's not a duplicate of Michael Jordan. He has his own value and worth. But I like LeBron. I think LeBron should always be celebrated for what he has accomplished. I think the problem with people giving LeBron his due is when you start comparing LeBron to someone they like.
Most definitely.
So if you compare LeBron, to Jordan, then I'm gonna pick apart LeBron's
Game.
game.
Most definitely.
But if you don't compare him to anybody,
Can't argue.
Right.
I can't
What
argue.
you think? What you think, Sean?
When it comes to his legacy, what does it do for his legacy
Well-
if he wins?
Well, first with the super teams being built, where does that leave
No, he going
LeBron
with
and
the
the
Nets.
Lakers?
No, he going with the Nets.
What does it do for him? As of right now, I feel like he's still rolling. I feel like he's still rolling. They in a good position. They're winning. They're finding ways
So
to win.
who is your championship?
So
team?
who is
That's
my
what I'm
champion?
saying.
does the Nets beat the Lakers? That's what I wanna know.
Or the field?
As of right now, I still do have a question mark about the Nets when it comes to their big man situation. So that is what I feel like it's possible, but because of what KD has already proven he can do to LeBron when it comes to
Don't
those
do
moments. But what I will say is,
Don't do that.
What
KD was only responsible
What
to
I-
shoot and go
I
to
have nothing
state.
to
Don't
do
do
with.
that.
I have nothing to do with him shooting one of the biggest shots and him averaging 35
He did it twice.
Nicole.
Okay,
He
so
did it twice. Back-to-back years.
I have nothing.
Twice.
But my thing is, if your only responsibility is to shoot the ball, you don't have to worry about carrying a
played
whole
great
team.
defense.
You're
Yes.
playing with 4 other all-stars.
He played great defense in that final series.
I
But I agree.
digress.
But
I digress.
No, but I agree with you. I agree with you in terms of
Responsibility.
KD's responsibility wasn't as great because he was in OKC, and that's the team
Yeah.
that put them out
Yeah.
the year before. But I will say about KD, when you think about Kevin Durant, he is a game changer.
Yeah.
So he's always a threat
Every
to
time.
do something to mess folk up.
Exactly, and that's one of my points too. When it comes to him in those moments, he's just lethal.
Okay.
So I do feel like they literally a big man away. They gotta
From
get
a
somebody.
championship.
I mean, for me to actually choose them over the Lakers,
Yeah.
and that's just me being truthfully honest. Like, I love the new addition with James Harden and everything. I love the Nets, and I love what they're doing with Steve Nash and D'Antoni's doing. But when it comes to me actually just choosing them over the Lakers, it's just hard for me to. It's still a question mark there. Can they beat everybody else? Absolutely. I'll pick them against Giannis. I'll pick them against the Clippers or whoever.
I
But
don't
when it
know if
comes
they
to-
can beat the Clippers.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You
Okay.
Absolutely.
you think that the Brooklyn Nets could beat the Clippers?
Absolutely.
See
Why?
See,
Absolutely.
Bishop,
I
I
feel like
love
they
that
can.
you were on today
Absolutely.
because I agree with you on that Clippers pick, man. I like the Clippers. I love Kawhi. I love what he can do.
They
I
gonna
love
championship.
Lou. I'm not saying they're gonna win it because they're going against LeBron, and you can't never count that man out. But I love Kawhi. I hope Sean can agree with me on this. I feel like Brooklyn needs some more pieces. This is Steve Nash, first year coaching. And I'm not going against that. We've seen Steve Kerr do it with, remarkably, great. But he had Mark Jackson come before him and build
Let's
that
be
team.
clear.
Let's be
Mark
clear.
Jackson built that team.
So Steve Kerr came into it easy. You know what I'm saying? And it was already functioning. He just came in and just said, okay, here, this is what I think y'all should do. And boom, it was that. They was already a well-oiled machine. But I like the Clippers as well. You can't count them out. Paul George has been playing good. I don't trust the guy, but he has been playing good. He's saying he back. He's saying this the year y'all dogged them all in the bubble. I dogged them. I went on social media, called them Pandemic P. You know what I'm saying? So I don't agree with the guy. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just gonna sit back and wait and watch and see what he do in the playoffs. But the Clippers is hungry, man, and they looking good.
And if Paul George is consistent,
Dan is scary.
if Paul
it's
George
scary.
is
It's scary.
consistent and play on the level that they can beat anybody.
They can beat anybody.
But
Agreed.
the problem is, can they be consistent?
That's the problem.
And Kawhi's my favorite player right now. Can he be durable? You know what I mean? And that's my only challenge with
the
Clippers. Now, and the only reason why I'm saying that I don't give the Nets they just gonna beat the Clippers because Kawhi can lock and has. He's locked down Kevin Durant. He's locked down James Harden. And who can't lock down Kyrie if necessary?
Because
the
Kobe
thing about Kawhi Leonard now is ever since he developed an offensive talent. I mean, he's got better on offense. Needless to say, his defense have definitely diminished. Yeah, and because we seen what Luka did to him. We seen
That was
what
Paul
Jamal.
George.
That was Paul George.
He was still a
Okay,
ball.
but Luka just played. Well, he wasn't there. But I'm saying Luka, even in the bubble, he was still balling. Luka when it came down to the last shot.
Luka, though, that doesn't speak.
But I'm saying Paul George and Kawhi Leonard did not want that defensive assignment when Luka shot the shot for them to win that game. Look, Kawhi Leonard didn't say, "Hey, I got him. I won Defensive Player of the Year. I got him."
No, but
he didn't say the same thing. And then not only that, Kawhi Leonard didn't step up when Jamal Murray and them. Jamal Murray and them, they dancing and shimmying, and Kawhi Leonard is still let them come back. So when you have to, and Jokic was out there balling. So when you take a look at all of that stuff and you see what Kawhi does on offense, yeah, but Kawhi is not. He doesn't have the defense of old as he once did. So if you're talking Kawhi's defense of old, you got me. But if Kawhi's defense as of now, absolutely.
I feel like his defense diminished only because Paul George's defense is just as great. So Paul George, this is the first time he's playing with somebody of that caliber. They're both arguably two of the best two-way players in the league. Okay. I mean, at one point you can say they were both top 5, literally.
Okay. Yeah,
people still say they both top 5. So Paul George being on my team saying, "Hey, I got it." You know what I'm saying? I don't necessarily beat down on Kawhi because PG went to him and said, "Hey, no, I got Luka in this matter," or "No, I got Jamal Murray in this matter."
But neither one of them did that though when it came to that game, because even before that, when we going back to the bubble, Devin Booker shot the game-winning shot over both of them, and y'all still at the same time still want to say that Kawhi's defense is what it was when it's not. It's not there.
I'll say this. I'll say that. When it matters, Paul George and Kawhi can flip that switch and they can lock you down. Now, have it diminished? Maybe. But I'm talking about the ability and the potential of.
I can say that about Kawhi. I can't say that about Paul George.
I can't say it for sure about Paul George, but he's a great defensive player.
Okay.
But I can't say the same about either of them, even when it comes to those moments, because Kawhi, I haven't seen. When was the last time? But when was the last time we seen Kawhi Leonard lock somebody down?
Like Giannis when he was in Toronto. Now
I'll give you that year. I'm talking about as of recent.
That was 2 years ago. That was just the year before.
2 years ago.
That was the year before.
Oh,
it was Toronto, then LA just won.
Giannis.
So that was the year before. Now I'll give you the bubble argument. Yeah. Jamal murdered them. They was singing, they was dancing, they mocked
and they didn't want to be in the bubble.
But Paul George said he was depressed. We don't know what he was going through. He said he was depressed.
I don't care about him being depressed, though, in all honesty. I don't. Not because I feel like I just don't, because
you're making millions of dollars. Don't be depressed. Now, that people were real problems.
That's true.
I don't. You feel what I'm saying? Because you wouldn't have been depressed had y'all won.
He wouldn't have been depressed. That would have been his art. That's my thing. I'm gonna stick with the Pandemic P thing. That's my name for him. I don't call him playoff P no more. I feel like he's Pandemic P. I don't.
He balling now though. Here's
the other thing. Here's the other thing. We talk about defense. We can look, if we scrutinize James Harden, Kyrie, or KD, maybe not so much. But there have been moments, even this year, when their offense was supposed to take the game over and win it, and they didn't.
Yeah, well done.
Without a great defensive player. Mm-hmm. So you think about some of the games that...
Like the infamous quote, Kyrie, when he thought it was, fun to say during the last finals, when he was on KD podcast, "Oh, this the first time, I get to play with somebody," and I'm looking down and I'm like, "Oh, he can make the last shot like me." Irregardless of him, playing with LeBron 3 years in Cleveland. Right. But okay, let's just say you do feel like that when y'all just went against the Wizards and you had an opportunity to take the last shot and you missed it. And then KD had a last, opportunity to take the last shot and he missed it. It's just like I don't want to hear it.
They can't be lackadaisical on defense at all. That's gonna be their problem. And the end of the game of who's gonna take the shot. I feel
when
like
it comes to Brooklyn?
Yeah, okay. I feel like that's the only problem. Yeah.
So when we're talking about best players of all time, what I want the fellas to do is give me your best starting 5 of all positions.
By position. Can I go first?
Are we now real quick? Are we doing our top 5 just all time, or the top 5 if we doing Rucker Park?
No. Let's do it all time by position.
Yeah.
NBA. You know, because we can all put together a crazy team. But we want to see by position.
I mean, like y'all point guard, y'all shooting guard, y'all small forward, y'all power forward, and y'all center.
Okay, I want to go first.
Go ahead.
I feel like the greatest point guard of all time. And you know, I love Zeke. I'm a Bad Boys fan. I used to watch film on them all the time. I wasn't born yet, but I did watch a lot of film on them growing up because I was a major basketball fan. But I gotta put Magic there. You know, how he transitioned the game in the 80s. Him and Bird. Bird was great too. People sleep on Bird. Bird was magnificent.
You
can't talk.
The only reason you sleep on Bird is because you're either young or ignorant.
Yes, that guy is crazy. Like, man, Bird, crazy. One of my favorite players of all time, actually. But I got Magic at the 1. I gotta go MJ at the 2. And Kobe is my favorite player of all time. Granted, but I gotta go MJ. He the GOAT. I gotta go. I'm gonna go Bron at the 3, Nicole. I'm gonna go Bron at the 3. You can't. I mean,
as you should.
You can't put nobody there. The only person you could argue possibly is Larry Bird. But I'm gonna go Bron. I'm gonna go at the 4. And I'm not a fan of this guy. I feel like how we was talking about systems earlier, with the Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. I feel like, and I know y'all gonna probably eat me up after this. Y'all can argue with me all y'all want. But if you put KG in the system with Pop instead of Tim Duncan, I think we have a whole different conversation. But I'm gonna put Tim Duncan. I feel like KG was better in late '90s, early 2000s. That's just my argument. He was ruthless. He was ruthless.
KG
It's
better
the
at what?
disrespect for me.
That's
Offense and he was now Tim Duncan had great defense, but he was for sure the better defender in their prime. He was the better defender, and you know his offense, man, was crazy. He could shoot longer, farther. He was like the first coming of the stretch forward. It wasn't Tim Duncan. It was more so KG. You know, he really brung that stretch forward. There would be no Anthony Davis if it was no KG.
Don't do that.
Chris Webber, you can even argue Chris Webber being the first coming of it. But I'm going to put Tim Duncan in the power forward spot. Okay. I just had to mention KG, but I'm going to put Tim Duncan there. And then I got Hakeem Olajuwon. Not Kareem, not Wilt, not Shaq. I'm putting Hakeem there. He's the only player besides Giannis and Michael Jordan to have a Defensive Player of the Year and MVP season. You know, that's unheard of.
So
to win.
Do your 5 one more time.
Magic Johnson at the 1, Michael Jordan at the 2, LeBron James at the 3, Tim Duncan at the 4, and Hakeem at the 5. All champions.
Wait, I thought you said KG at the 4.
No, I got Tim Duncan.
He just gonna give it to Tim.
I'm gonna give it to Tim. I like Carl and Charles Barkley too.
You go ahead.
No,
absolutely.
You want me to do the honor?
I want me to do the honor. I want you to do the honor.
All right, man. Let me go ahead. Number 1, I always get these 2 because I watch more of this guy. I always get a tie between Magic and Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd leads and assists. I love Kidd. He's just phenomenal what he do with the basketball. But I'm gonna go Magic. I'm gonna do Magic. Give me Kobe Bryant, of course. You know, you can't knock Kobe Bryant. Like I love Kobe, man, and what he brought. Small forward. I actually got Kevin Durant, man. I got Kevin Durant. I have Kevin Durant as my 3. We have never seen a 7-foot point guard who can shoot and dribble the ball. Not like how he does.
We have.
Not who? Oh,
I
you
said
said
we
we
haven't.
haven't? Oh,
We haven't.
we haven't. It's never before seen. So, because you can argue somebody like Giannis, but Giannis can't shoot. You know what I'm saying? So you can argue, okay, but he's too slow. You know, my thing is, I feel like we'll never see a Kevin Durant or LeBron James. Those 2 people, I think we'll never see in those small forward positions. 4th person, I'm gonna go with Tim. I like Tim, man. He was called Mr. Fundamental for a reason, and he dominated those 2,000 years, man. He balled, and he even balled when it came against LeBron James and the boys. So he balled. He balled, man. But and lastly, I'm gonna go with Shaq, man. There will never be never be a more dominant beast than Shaquille O'Neal.
You just not counting the free throws. You just saying
not counting free throws.
Okay.
Just Shaquille as a dominant force. Period.
I think he missed like 15,000 free throws in his career.
What happens when Kareem what happens when the Dream on his team plays against the Shaq
Shimmy.
on your team,
You gonna shimmy?
and the
Cook 'em.
and the Shaq is outclassed?
But see, that's why my question was: are we doing Rucker Park? Like, are we playing? Or is it my team versus his team, or is we just doing all the time?
Okay, I got you.
So that's why I said
Yeah.
that.
So we're not talking about competing.
Yeah, because if we was talking about that, I would have had another.
Okay, I got you.
So
So do you think your team would beat his team?
Never.
No.
I feel like my team would be this
Never.
team.
I'm trying to put together a winning team.
Me too.
Exactly.
Okay,
Mine is a winning team.
What you got?
That's who I
Mine
like.
is a winning
What you
team.
got? Okay,
I want my team to
What
win.
you got? Okay, what you got?
Okay,
What you
my
got?
Magic, point. Michael, and again it would be Michael or Kobe. I would plug either one
Either one.
in.
Me too. I feel the same.
Michael or Kobe at shooting guard. The 3 is Kevin Durant, but I would do Kevin Durant or LeBron. It depends on who I want. I'm gonna give the edge to Kevin Durant.
Oh, based on
my
what?
God.
Well, based on how he plays, not
Exactly.
what he's accomplished.
Yes.
And I'm not saying he's a better player.
So you feel like Kevin Durant can oppose his will on a game more than LeBron?
Kevin Durant?
Yes, Kevin
Yeah.
Durant.
Well, and the only reason, see, here's why I'm saying
How many
that.
free throws did LeBron?
But here's why I'm saying that. LeBron, one of his great skills, and probably his greatest skill, is a floor general. I have one. I don't need a floor general at the 3 because I got Magic.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
I need somebody at the 3
A sniper.
who's just gonna get me buckets and play defense. Which LeBron can do both, but just as a 3, Kevin Durant gets a little edge because first of all, LeBron is great almost at any position. You know, so I mean, I would be taking away something from LeBron's game by keeping the ball in Magic's hand.
Exactly.
So you got him at your
Exactly.
3, KD.
I got KD. Now my power forward would be Tim Duncan.
Okay. We all
I think we all agreed on that.
It'd be Tim Duncan or AD.
Exactly.
Okay. I
Or
like
AD.
it.
Oh.
Exactly.
I like AD
Y'all
there.
fools.
I like AD there. But I like, and some other power forwards. I mean, you think about Sean Kemp. I mean, you think about Charles Barkley. I mean, you can go down the list.
Karl Malone.
Yeah.
Karl Malone.
Yeah. People miss Carl.
Yeah.
We sleep on Karl Malone. I wouldn't put him there.
I wouldn't put him there.
I would put Timmy over Karl.
Yeah.
So Karl Malone, and then my center would be the Dream.
Mine too. I think
I
we
mean,
agree. I
just
think you don't.
big,
want
and the reason why he beat every great center in their prime.
He did.
He beat Pat. He beat
David Robinson.
David
He
Robinson.
smacked David Robinson.
And he
Embarrassed-
smacked-
and-
He embarrassed David Robinson
And he embarrassed Shaq
in the finals.
in the finals. He
So
beat all
don't-
these
don't-
guys in the
So
finals.
none of y'all got Steph Curry at y'all
Never.
one?
Oh, what?
Oh,
Only this
Never.
generation. Only
I
the
would
kids
never.
Stop
born in
it.
2000.
Because y'all want to talk about winning.
I would never.
Now I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say I would never say I would never.
I would put him in Rucker Park lineup.
Yes, Rucker
Oh, I would
Park,
put him
if
if
we
we
don't-
talking. Now, if we talking
Yes.
Rucker Park, I would put
Exactly.
Steph.
But
I
Bishop
wouldn't put him
said
as
he
great of all
composed his
time.
list on winning.
So if I'm composing my list on winning, then my whole list changed.
Exactly.
My
We're
whole
gonna have
list
to tweet.
changes.
We're gonna have to
Wow.
Tweets my
I
whole
would
list.
tweet, yeah.
Because of the concept you made. See, of the whole LeBron being a floor general as Magic, I wouldn't put him there as well. But I was just going off based off
Their
the
position.
greatest
Yeah.
at that position. Now, if I was basing my team off of play, oh no, I wouldn't put. I would put KD too. I'm taking KD at the park before I take LeBron. Only
Exactly.
because KD, what he can do. He's shooting from 40.
You're not taking LeBron nowhere though.
He's not.
I am.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
I
I'm
would.
crazy.
I'm just like
that's
Bishop.
what I
Hey,
said.
look, I'm just like Bishop. He just a nit
Y'all
right
not
there,
taking-
man. He's just right there.
And I'm saying you can put together honestly another 5 of great players, and it's a great argument because let's do the other thing. All right, let's put at the point. Let's put
Curry.
Curry, and the shooting guard. Let's put Kobe at the 3. Let's put LeBron. You follow what I'm saying? At the 4,
Let's put AD.
Let's put AD.
Right.
And then at the 5,
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Who gonna beat
Skyhook.
them?
It's still crazy.
Who's gonna beat them?
It ain't no, it's Dane ain't no
put
beating them.
Kareem.
Yeah, it's Dane ain't no beating them.
Yeah. I told
You
you.
can
You got some problems.
But
You
my
do.
problem with y'all starting 5 is, and it's y'all, so happy.
You got a problem with mine?
You got the best one.
No.
What's your starting 5?
So
Yeah, can we
What's
hear
your
yours?
starting 5?
I know we gotta go,
I
but can
I don't have a starting 5.
Come
Oh,
on.
so you want
to do that every week.
I told y'all.
What is your starting
I
5?
don't have one.
But let me ask you this. Is LeBron in that starting 5?
Of course. Yeah, look at it. Look at it.
Is the Pope Catholic?
Is Jordan in that starting 5?
Duh. No, but I just can't get over. Why KD in y'all starting 5?
Why?
Yes, why?
Why
I mean,
not?
we just said it.
Y'all just said greatest of all time in that position. Why KD in y'all starting 5?
Because I don't think LeBron
told
is one of
Yeah, man.
listen, LeBron is one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, fact.
He's not the greatest of all time necessarily in that position.
Exactly.
He's
He
just
doesn't
great.
even play small forward. Let's be honest.
We
He
have
plays
to
point guard.
understand.
Exactly.
And my truth about LeBron, there's certain players that should be in their own category.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put them in
Man,
a
y'all gotta
position.
start putting some respect
He's
on LeBron
uncategorized. I
James.
feel like he can be
No.
in any category, but I think he's the greatest at that position because it's not like LeBron can't be the 3. Yeah, but again, like you said, he can play any
He
position.
can be
You can put him
whatever
at the
you
2,
need
you can put him
him
at
to
the
be.
1, you can put him at the 4 to 5. I just think he revolutionized that position. And like even Magic was what 6'9".
So
you
Magic
know,
revolution.
he was kind of like the first coming of the small forwards to be the one, but he played the one his whole life.
Exactly.
LeBron actually was considered a small forward and transitioned himself into becoming that.
So
point
when
guard.
you have a point guard discussion, then yes, I can definitely argue LeBron.
I was about to say,
James
so
up
would
there.
you be mad if I changed my list up and I had
Instead-
LeBron at the 1,
Exactly.
Jordan at the 2, KD at the 3,
Exactly. Instead of
no
Magic. You know what I'm saying?
You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying?
So-
I feel
But
like
see,
that's what I would
I'm
do.
saying. But
That's
to
a
not put
different-
LeBron at all, like that.
But he's not a
He
small
don't like-
forward.
he don't-
though.
He just don't like him, so I get it.
He's not necessarily a small forward though. He's a
We
point
get it.
guard.
Yeah.
That's his primary role.
If you ask a different question and say, what are the 5 players you would put together as your team without putting
Right.
them in a position?
Right.
He
then-
still would not have LeBron on his team. Is what I'm highlighting.
Oh,
Is what I'm highlighting.
I would. I'm
would.
telling you.
Yeah, I'm
I
on
would
LeBron
take
then.
if I'm
I
doing
would.
a Rugger Bar team, I'm taking Magic off and I'm taking LeBron James
But,
off.
so before we go, because I know we gotta go.
I don't know if I take
Before we
Magic.
go, I just gotta ask this. And I ain't trying to take over. I ain't trying to take over hosting again. But I just want to ask this: is LeBron in y'all top 5
Top 5
of all time? Like just top
Just
5,
players in
just
general.
players in general. Is he at
Yes.
least in your top 5?
Yes, I put him in my top 5 for sure.
Top 5 in what?
It's the
Just
hesitation
basketball.
for me.
Just
all
basketball.
players, all basketball.
Because I got Jordan
Like
1, Kobe
Jordan,
2.
Kobe.
I got LeBron 3. I have LeBron 3. But I'm saying is he ranked in your top 5?
If you talk about, if the question is top 5 in terms of impact and effectiveness
Of all time.
of all times, LeBron would have to be.
Thank you. That's all I'm gonna
Because
do.
he's a generational player.
Exactly.
You know, if you're talking about the top 5 players that you like to watch play basketball,
Right.
or their style of play, then I think that's a different
That's a
conversation.
different- yeah.
Because there are people who may argue about LeBron not being a killer, his style. You can't argue his impact. You know, you talk about his career and his impact. If you don't want to see that, let me tell you when you're great. You are great, like Tom Brady. You are great when someone doesn't follow your sport and they still know who you are. That's when you're great. People who don't follow basketball know who LeBron is.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
They know who Michael Jordan is. They know who Kobe is. I don't follow football. I know who Tom Brady is.
Yeah.
How many of y'all follow hockey?
Right. No,
You know who Wayne is, don't you?
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky. Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky.
Yep.
You don't, but
No.
yeah.
You don't know Wayne Gretzky?
No.
You know what I mean?
Like-
so there are those kind of people
I know
that
who Serena Williams is, though.
you
Same
know
thing.
who Tiger Woods
Tiger
is.
Woods,
Absolutely.
Right,
And how many of us started watching
Because
golf
of
Golf,
because
yeah.
he's talking
Yeah.
about it?
Well, that does it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to thank our special guests for being here today.
Thank
we really
you for having
enjoyed
me.
you. Please do not forget to follow us on YouTube at Triple Double. Please make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.